French farmers in tractors have descended on highways surrounding Paris, beginning days of protest over the prospect of a trade deal between European and Mercosur countries. A push by the EU and the South American bloc to conclude the long-running negotiations by the end of the year has rekindled anger in France. Farmers in France say the deal will lead to the imports of cheaper produce not bound to the same restrictions as in this country, leading to unfair competition. The government says it will oppose the agreement. EU Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen has admitted it will be difficult to get all member countries on board, saying the devil is in the details.
We have to include all 27 heads of state and government and member states of the European Union, and of course on the side of Mercosur, all partners of Mercosur also have to be ready to sign. So that's always at the very end a big task to overcome.
For more on this, we can cross to our Brussels correspondent, Dave Keating. Dave, what are these details that the member countries like France are up in arms about? And we just heard from Ursula von der Leyen saying everyone has to be on board with this. What is the likelihood of that?
There's probably no likelihood of everyone being on board with this, but they don't have to be. So actually, the details were set back in 2019. This free trade agreement has been negotiated for 20 years. Negotiations ended in 2019, but because of the political sensitivity of this in France, no vote has been taken by the EU countries. But because this is purely deemed a trade subject, this does not need unanimity in the Council. This is going to be done by qualified majority vote, meaning by the size of the countries. And it's very clear now that France does not have the votes to block this. Their allies who are also opposed to Mercosur are small countries like Ireland, Austria, the Netherlands, but Germany and Spain are gung-ho for this agreement. And although they've been able to get delays on this vote for a year, notably in response to the farmers' protests that came at the early part of this year in January and February, since then what's happened is President Macron has lost major political capital by doing so poorly in 2 elections. He's now largely viewed as a lame duck here in Brussels and just doesn't have the political power to continue delaying this vote. So he's now looking for other ways to try to block this or to change it in a way that would satisfy those farmers that are protesting today in France. The question is, what changes could be made that would satisfy them, given that the word Mercosur in France has become so toxic in and of itself. When I talk to people here, they say this vote, look, it's going ahead next month. And so Macron is really in his final moments to be able to block this if he thinks he has a way, and he's looking at other ways.
Well, as you say, Macron seems to be looking farther afield for allies in derailing this pact, including his Argentinian counterpart, Javier Milei.
Exactly. If he can't kill it here in Europe, Macron's strategy now seems to be he'll kill it over there in South America. So yesterday he was meeting with Argentinian President Javier Milei. He came out of that meeting saying that he and Milei feel the same in both being opposed to Mercosur. It's not clear whether that's an accurate reflection of the Argentinian president's position. Today he's meeting with Brazilian President Lula. Now they share a lot of the same concerns in terms of environmental provisions. Macron wants this to be tied to the Paris Agreement and for there to be fines if this FTA violates the Paris Agreement in any way. He also wants clear guarantees on deforestation, which aren't in the current text. Those are things that President Lula might be willing to give. But on other issues, and really the issues that would be most likely to satisfy the protesting farmers, let's say controls on incoming agricultural products into the EU that those farmers are worried are going to flood the markets and affect their prices, it's not clear that he could get that in an agreement. So I think really this is being viewed as Macron's last chance to kill this deal before a vote is taken next month. We'll see if he's able to get some of those at least environment and climate concessions coming out of it. But as I say, it's just not clear that those would satisfy the protesting farmers. And if this is seen as a big political defeat for him, that could really spell trouble for him politically, which, I should note, the Commission and other EU partners wouldn't be very excited about that prospect either. So this is going to get very complicated next month.
All right, Dave Keating, we'll have to wait and see. Thank you very much for your reporting from Brussels.